In this 20th lesson on the pentatonic minor scale, you're going to begin learning the fourth and final melody of this series. We're going to approach this melody a little bit differently. We're going to be focusing on phrasing. This melody is broken up into 4 distinct sections. Each section is essentially a complete phrase. Therefore, we want to highlight this concept a little bit to help you be a little more aware of how well-constructed solos are put together. All right? So, without further ado, let's just dive in and you'll begin to gain a deeper understanding as we go along. All right? Let's go. All right, the first measure. You're going to be at the 13th fret on the second string, third finger, and your second finger is going to be backing you up, and your thumb's going to be here at around 11. And then you're going to bend up to the 15th fret note, and that's a D, from C to D. And you're going to hold that for 1.5 beats, but we'll get to that in a minute. So bend that string up to the 15th fret note, then release it, but stay on that fret and string and play that. Then your first finger at 11, back up to 13 on the second string, then over to the third string with your second finger at the 12th fret. And you'll hold that note for a little bit, and then you'll come back in on the fourth string at 10 with your first finger and your third finger at 12. Okay? Now that's the mechanical part, working out just exactly what your fingers are being asked to do. So if you want to pause and rewind that and listen to the explanation again, do that. All right? All right, let's keep going. Now we're going to put it in time. And one of the ways you can do this when you're blending 16ths and 8ths and quarter notes is count to the 16th note. So here's how you might do it. 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Okay? So that really helps you understand how to put it together, how it's supposed to work. Now, that first note is a quarter note with a dot. For you who don't remember, or you just need to be reminded, which we've been doing throughout this series, that's a quarter note and an eighth note. That dot is worth half the value of the note it's attached to. Well, a quarter note is 2 eighth notes. So half of the value of a quarter note is an eighth note. Therefore, the dot itself is also an eighth note. So you're actually borrowing from the second beat and holding it. 1 and 2 and So you come back in on and with the next 2 notes, and then 3 E and 4 E and Now you're holding that note here on the 12th fret of the third string. That's what those swoopy lines are. Remember that. Those are ties. That means you play it once and hold it for the value of the notes that follow if the swoopy line, if the tie, ties them together. So here we have 3 notes tied together. The first note, the E of 3, and then and 4, and then you come back in on and on the and of 4, and okay? So once again, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. Okay? Pause the video. Rewind if you need to. Take advantage of this technology. It's awesome. Rewind through the explanations and the demonstrations and really pay attention. And then pause the video and go through it yourself. One note at a time if you need to. That's the mechanical. Remember, we talked about walking through it mechanically. What are your fingers being asked to do? And then slowly start counting it out. Count to the 16ths if you need to. 1 E and 2 E and etc. Right? This will help you put all the notes in the right place. Okay? And then when you're ready to continue, we'll start with the next measure. Okay. The second measure here, you're going to be on 10 on the third string with your first finger. Then you're up to 12 with your third finger. Back to 10. Then 12 on the fourth string, third finger. Back up to 10 on the third string with your first finger. Back to 12 on the fourth string with your third finger. First finger at 10. Okay, now we've been in the tied position here. So now we're going to move down to the nested position, 2 frets lower at 8. And then back up to with the third finger to 10. All this is on the fourth string, back to 8. And then 10 on the fifth string, 8 on the fifth string, and then back to 10 on the fifth string. Okay. Once again, you're going to be at 10 on the third string with your first finger. 12, same string, third finger, back to 10. 12 on the fourth string with your third finger. Back to 10 on the third string, first finger. Back to 12 on the fourth string, third finger. First finger, 10 on the fourth string. Now you're going to transition from tied to nested at the 8th fret on the fourth string, first finger. Back up to 10, same string, third finger, back to 8. Then over to the 5th string at 10 with the third finger. 8 on the 5th string with the first finger, back up to 10. And that finishes out the first phrase. So, how would you count this? Well, these are all 16th notes until you hit the last note, which is a quarter note. So we would go 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Okay? Makes sense? One more time. 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Now it's not really a difficult lick. None of this is difficult. It's just busy because you're playing a lot more notes per beat. Okay, so take your time with this measure. Watch the demonstration, watch the explanation, the walkthrough, the mechanics of it. Then pause the video and work this out yourself. Count it out as you go after you've got your fingers understanding what they're supposed to play. All very important stuff there. If your fingers don't know what they're doing, you won't be able to do it, right? So walk through the mechanical. Always work things out in the mechanical. What am I being asked to play? How am I being asked to play it? What fingers and such? Is there movement between positions as there is here from the tied, the fourth position, to the nested, third position? Then you put it in time, okay? And when you're ready to continue, press play and we'll keep going. All right, let's put the two measures together. This is the first phrase. So I'm going to walk through it and play through it nice and easy. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 and. All right, one more time. 3 and 4 and 1 Pause the video, play through this. If you need to just kind of work through the mechanics again, go through that. Do what you need to do, right? And when you're ready to continue, press play and we'll keep going. All right, these are the first two measures of the melody. You'll notice when you play it as a whole, while in the first measure, you have a little bit of a pause at dun, da, 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 and then you pick it up, da, 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 right? So the phrase is actually in two parts. You have a short bit, and then you have a longer bit. But it's still part of a single phrase, because this is how we talk sometimes. Sometimes we'll say just a little bit, and then we'll go to the next part of it, which is the bigger, greater substance. But it's all related. It's all part of the same thing. So phrasing is very much like language. When we talk, we have pauses between the parts of the thing we want to say. Just as you're hearing me talk now, I'm putting pauses in between each section of what I'm trying to relate and help you understand, okay? And that's a very important element. A lot of people, you may have heard talking about famous guitar players. Wow, he really talks through that instrument. And this is exactly what we are talking about, what we're discussing, is how do you talk through the guitar? You speak in phrases, just like in language, because music is a language, right? So make sure that you're absorbing what is being offered here. And if you want, go back to the written material for the first three melodies and see and walk through it and see if you can identify the phrasing. It'll be a good little test for you to go back and examine those melodies and really pay attention. Where are the pauses? Oh, this is a phrase between here and here, or it's half a phrase because there's a little pause and then the rest of the phrase is continued. Just like in this first two measures, you've got a short bit and then a held note, which seems to indicate a pause, and it does. And then the rest of it is being stated. So it's like setup, delivery, right, of that phrase. Okay, so there you go. That'll do it for this particular lesson. When you're ready to get on to the next couple of measures, we'll be there. See you then. Hi, thanks for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, it's free. Hit the red button down there in the lower right-hand corner. Below the video, there's a gray notification bell if you want to be notified when new content is posted, which we often do about once a week. I also have Outsmart Your Guitar over on Patreon. That channel features content that isn't included here on YouTube, so you may want to go check that out. There's 2 levels of subscription there, and we'd really love it if you became a patron and showed us your support there as well. All right? Thanks so much for watching, and thanks for your time. We'll see you soon.